Hey, welcome back. My name is Lindsay, and today I'm going to walk you through my setup of my 2023 Hobonichi Weeks planner. I recently did a 2023 planner lineup, so if you're curious what else I'll be setting up over the next couple weeks, I can link that video up in the cards if you'd like to check that out. But today I'm going to do a pretty chatty flip through of my setup for my bunny weeks for next year. My patrons did a quick vote last month whether or not we wanted to see me put pen to paper for the setup or set it up off camera and then do a really thorough walkthrough, and the second option won, so that's what we are going to be doing today. This is the bunny covers from Hobonichi. It's a standard size, so it has, I think, 75 notes pages in the back. I went with the English edition, which was new this year, and I really like the spreads that came with the English edition. I'm planning on using this cover here. This is the Hobonichi Notte, N-O-T-T-E. It's got handwrite on here, gold foil accents. It's your usual layout for a Hobonichi zip cover if you've seen them before. And in general, really liking this. This is a non-leather cover, so I think this is a fun option that they offered this year, and I really like the black. Black is my favorite color. So I decided to pick up the weeks for a couple of reasons. One, I think it would be a fun challenge to try and use a standard size. I have never used a standard size for a personal planner. And also I was influenced. One of the creators I follow online, Megan Rhiannon, I think is how you say her last name. I can link her YouTube down below, but she picked this one up, and then after seeing more pictures of it and all this kind of stuff, I fell in love with the cover and decided, hey, I want to pick it up. I also really like the clovers. My birthday's in March, so I just think it's a cute touch. So anyway, we're trying this as my experimental planner for 2023. I'm giving myself lots of planner options, so I anticipate a lot of setup videos here over the next few weeks, but I think that this is going to be probably the most challenging of all of them because my system typically relies on having room for monthly, weekly, daily spreads and plenty of notes pages to bullet journal in the back. And the standard only has 75, so after all my setup pages, that leaves me with 5 notes pages per month if I just divide it by 12. So we'll see how things go. So in the front here, I've got some sticky notes. This is from Daiso. These are from Amazon Japan, and these are by Post-it, and I will use these essentially as an inbox. So anything I want to quick jot down, don't know quite where I want that to go, or it's a more temporary list, maybe like a grocery shopping list, things like that, I'll typically put in these front sticky notes. I decided to decorate my front page a little bit. I did like a ink swatch, drew in a banner. This little bunny I drew myself, made into a sticker using some of my Patreon doodles. These were from a sticker sheet that I picked up from Yoseka. I can put that information down below, but I just really like this quote. I thought it was kind of a fun way of setting a tone for next year. I think I've traditionally really focused on my planner systems being overly efficient and really streamlining, but I think next year my vibe I'm going for is slow coffee mornings and fancy fountain pens. So I like that quote. Okay, so now we get into some of the stuff that I have set up. If you saw my migration prep video, I did a mind map of all the spreads that I needed to set up. What I then did is I wrote out all those spreads on a sticky note and put the sticky note in my planner. So some of those I've removed, some of those I've not. So if you see me pull them out, that was kind of where they are coming from. But as I mentioned, I did go for the English edition, which I quite like this year. I like the Monday start. I really like this space. I have no idea how I'm going to use it. I think I'm going to note when I travel for work down here because that's something of reference. The only thing I did in here is I have underlined our paydays in pencil, just so it's a quick reference for me when we are doing our finances on a weekly basis. And then I printed off this habit tracker here. This is from Peanuts Planner Co. It's from the 104 Undated Yearly Bundle. And it's a pocket-sized printable printed at 88% on some Tomoe River paper that I got off Amazon a few years ago. I don't know if you could still find it, maybe the new Tomoe River. So yeah, you'll notice that's why it's not perfectly centered, because you can kind of see this is where 2022 yearly calendar is printed, but I'm going to be using this to track my cycle And I drew a line down here in December because I'll start this planner in December, and I just have my usual icons for tracking when I'm ovulating and when I'm not, things like that. Let me zoom you guys in quick. Okay, hopefully you guys can see a little bit better here. This is the year at a glance page, I guess is what I refer to it as, and I'm gonna use this as a habit tracker, which I've done over the last few years. I will write down my workouts in each of the daily spots. So when I do a workout, I'll log what it is. And then I think I'm gonna use a mile liner to highlight the date if I close the rings on my Apple Watch, just so it can be a double tracker. One of my big goals this year is focusing on my fitness and my health. So I think that this is gonna be a good use of that. And then at the top here, I have written in the fiscal week numbers. I've also written 2021 over here as well, because again, I will start this planner in December, and I do that every year with the weeks, so I'm not worried about it. But up here, I will write in my average weekly weight. I have a smart scale that keeps track of all that for me, so I just check it on a Sunday and write it down. So I can kind of see where I'm at throughout the week, because one of my goals is weight loss related, so I want to have track of that somewhere in my planner. Okay, so the next spreads in here are your monthly calendars. They're Monday start, and again with the English edition, it's only the weekends that are highlighted a different color. I am not making any major changes to how I use this page, but as you can see, I've set up for December already. All the stickers are doodles from my Patreon. This was November's Patreon perk that I turned into a sticker sheet and added into my planner here. But in general, I pre-plan directly on the monthlies. So I put in like birthdays, events, and appointments, anything that's already scheduled, and I filled that in for the entire year. So you'll see that as I kind of flip through. So migrated all of that in ahead of time. On the left-hand side here, this is my running to-do list for the month. So a lot of these tasks are pre-planned. So as I think of something like, hey, I need to do that next month, or maybe it comes out in my planning routine, I will log these on here. I'm using Randy.plan style. I'm putting my designator on the line versus in a square, just to kind of give myself a little bit more room. Up top here, I drew a line in line with the first boxes here, and basically this is where I'm going to put down my goal to-dos. I used to put them kind of in a separate space throughout the planner, but my eye likes to draw kind of like what's my open task, so I think I'm just going to reserve these first few rows for my goal related tasks for the month, and then all my other running to-do lists below, so my eye doesn't have to kind of look in multiple places. Down here, I'm using Randy's stickers again. These are her, I guess, habit tracker stickers. She sells these for a lot of different planners now. I think she's got like the A5 cousin, Hobonichi weeks. The notes pages grid is different than the monthly grid, so pay attention when you're looking at the listings, but I'm gonna do my monthly habit trackers back in my monthlies again because it saves on space, which is gonna be the name of the game for this particular planner. So I decided to put all the habit trackers in all at once, which I'm glad I did, but also hate that I did, because you get a little bit of ridging, particularly when all of these work in sort of the normal spot at the bottom for me. But I've moved in all those birthdays and things like that. I created my delineating line for my goals, tasks, and all of that stuff. And you'll notice a few of the weeks I end up putting the habit tracker at the top, because if there's a Tuesday, the way that I like to habit track, they don't all fit in here with room to kind of write out what the task is. So I just use the leftover portion up here. It looks a little bit busy, but it fits, and I'd rather it fit nicely than skip tracking for a particular month. You do get through March of next year if you've not seen this planner before. And then we move into the weeklies. And I set up for December because I couldn't help myself. So I think that this will be a good example of essentially what these are going to look like. I don't think I'm gonna make any major changes to how I'm planning. It's kind of stayed the same for me over the last few years. I keep track of date-specific events and appointments over here on this page. On the right-hand side, I do a habit tracker at the top, which is going to be specific for my monthly goals, habits type of thing. I want to make sure that those are at the top of my list, which is why I left that note there. And then I do a running to-do list down below. So just anything else that I need to do throughout the week These are typically filled in via pre-planning or as I think of them, you know, if I'm, hey, I need to do something next week, I'll flip to next week and jot it down real time. This inner column here, there's sort of a thin delineating line. I typically do like 1 or 2 highlights of the day, just like little notes. Is there a song I liked? Maybe I had like a really nice cup of coffee, just little things like that that kind of help me kind of collect memories throughout the day. I don't typically write down tasks on sticky notes to move them, but I am traveling this particular week, so I just needed to do some reminders because I'm going to be out of routine on what days I think I want to tackle some of these tasks. I have sort of drawn in, if you've seen me in a weeks before, I usually draw like a line down the center, and I'll do the left-hand column for date-specific events and then the right-hand column for tasks. I'm now interchanging them. I just did a really light line down the center because on a really busy day, I kind of need 2 columns, but I have been trying to kind of only use a weekly spread, and for the most part, 6 to-dos per day is about all I need, along with things that I tackle on my weekly list. So far it's been working. It's all an experiment. I set up a month at a time, so I just planned out December, as you can see, and I transfer all my information down. I start putting in tasks ahead of time, and if I get to a week and something's already done, I just check it off, or if I don't need to do it, I strike it through. Not a big deal. I'm not overly fussy about my planner being like 100% accurate anymore. And then after that, they are all blank. So usually about mid-month, I start feeling like I need to see what's going on in January. So I'll do like a monthly routine planning session and kind of set up mid-month for the upcoming month. I guess let's talk about some of the differences here. There's no longer the kanji. Well, there's the kanji for the day of the week, but there was like some other kanji below, so that this is now bolder now than it used to be. Sundays are still in red. The quotes at the bottom are in English, which is kind of the highlight here. And then you do get a little mini calendar to see what week you are currently in. Your week numbers are at the top, which I really like, and then it spells out the month instead of just showing the number now. So things to note here. And then you get starts in December and it goes all the way through the end of 2023. And if I stick with the weeks, I always move over the first available weeks. So this is like the spread I would move over into the new planner. So that being said, that leaves you with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. And I think if I need to, I'm going to take advantage of them as excess notes pages. Very last page, I did decide to set up as an index. These are again Patreon doodles of mine that I made into stickers. I just wrote out index. All of my lettering for my headers were done with Atramentis document blue gray. Let me grab it. This guy here, this is like a perfect match for the cover of this planner. So if you're looking for an ink that goes really well with this is the one I'd recommend. I really like the Atramentis archive ink. It's my daily writing ink, and the document ink also dries down very quickly and I can highlight it. So it's one of those like planner proof inks in my opinion. So that is another thing that I reached for a lot in this setup. So you'll see that. And then this is all written with my Kaweko Brass Sport and Extra Fine. Pretty bold tip compared to my Pilot Vanishing point, but I like that kind of bolder header. Metal tabs, really quickly before I get into the pages that I set up. I am tabbing the Year at a Glance because I need to track my cycle every day and my weight and workout log. I did this because these are the 3 things I need to fill out on a daily basis, so I wanted them to be together. I tab my current month and then I tab my current week at the bottom because they're really easy to flip through, and then I have my index essentially tabbed along with my vision board here. These tabs are called Midori index clips. I'm going with the silver ones this year because it matches the foiling on the front cover. I get mine from Jetpens. You can probably find them elsewhere. Just do a quick Google search, but Jetpens is where I typically pick them up. So this is a spread I brought over from last year. I did a vision board. I find photos on Unsplash. Some of them are mine, some of them are from Pinterest. I upload them into Canva, and then I print them out on some Tomoe River paper, and I just use a glue stick to glue them in. It's already kind of peeling up, so I'll have to re-glue that down, but we got a very blue vibe for next year. I try and find an image that corresponds with my goals, and I've written my goals out down below 1 through 5, and I will check them off as I accomplish things throughout the year. From here, I gave myself a spread for quarterly goals breakdown. What I'm planning on doing is splitting this into 4 sections and then 3 columns per section, so I can say what are my monthly goals and just have them at a glance. I think I'm gonna fill them in 1 quarter at a time, so I've got a little bit of forward looking to what I want to accomplish within a quarter. I have not done a spread like this in my planner before, so I'm hoping that this is going to be helpful. Next, I have my adulting log. This is just a monthly reoccurring checklist for things I need to clean or are not automated. So I get asked every year what this is. So here's your opportunity to screenshot what I track. So for me, it is cleaning the mattress pad, washing out my menstrual cup, or sanitizing it rather, stainless steel, gasket of our washer, dishwasher filter, replacing toothbrush heads, my razor, replacing the dish sponge, getting our air filter switched, cleaning out the ice maker, smoke detector batteries. I like to track when I color my hair, get my nails done, oil change in the car, pick up my prescription, when we pay insurance, vehicle registration, and rotating our mattress. And then there's obviously room to grow, but these are the things that I figured would be most beneficial. I'll add things as I need to throughout the year. I do December through November, since I will start in December, and I write a date. So if I clean our mattress pad, say the 1st of December, I'll put a 1 there, so I know I did it on the 1st. Next, I have my investing and taxes spread. This is really simple. I just draw a line and send down the center here. Basically, this page will serve 2 purposes. Anytime we move money into our investments account, I like to write the date, the amount, and the intended use, just for record throughout the year. And then down below, I'll do a checklist come tax season on what documents I'm expecting, because I am antsy about getting taxes done. So I just like having a designated checklist. And it's actually been helpful to see, like, last year, what documents did we get as compared to this year. So I like putting it in my planner for reference versus like on a sticky note. Next is my reading log. 3 columns, very simple. I'll write down the site if it's fan fiction, or the number if it's a book, the title, and then I give it a rating out of 5 stars. Very simple. I think I'm gonna do more like book reviews in my cousin as more of a journaling spread, but this is just a log of everything because I'm a chronic rereader and I like to revisit. All my lines that you're gonna see are like really faint gray, and that's because they're drawn in with pencil. I've not found anything that looks better than that, so I tend to stick with pencil. Date night log, again, very simple, just a line down the center here. I will write down the date, the day of the week, and then a quick blurb when my husband and I go on a date night. So where we ate, what we did, that kind of thing. I just like having a record of it. Similar over here with the call log, I talk to my best friend once a week, so I'll do the date and then a quick summary, like 1-liner about what we talked about, just to freshen up before our next conversation. I'm also thinking about adding a sticky note here, so if things come up throughout the week that I want to remember to mention, might do that, I don't know. This is a spread I didn't think I was going to set up, but at the end of the day, I decided I could combine a couple things. So this is my gift idea spread and wish list, and I'm going to do this Alistair method. I kept it pretty simple. I've got a star, which indicates it's a wish list item, a B for Brandon, my husband, an E for my side of the family, a W for my husband's side of the family. And basically I'll do a dot under, where the ideas pertain to, and then I'll list what the item is, and I'll check it off if I get that thing or not. Trying not to do too much of a wish list this year, so I think combining it all together will give me better use out of this page. LindseyScribbles spend. If you saw my migration prep video, I talked about one of my goals is to open a shop for LindseyScribbles. So money in, money out related to that. Just want to kind of keep track of this here. I did date, description, $, so money out, I'll put in parentheses, money in, I leave alone, and then running balance of kind of where I'm at from funds available to put back into the channel or the shop or whatever's needed. Debits page is how I move money around between our accounts. So something is charged to like a fund money account versus our household spending, that kind of thing. I will write down the amount, what it is, which accounts I need to move it from, and then I date it off when I move that money. I typically need 2 pages for this throughout the entire year, but I just set up the first page. I have a sticky note in here for my running shopping list for things that we don't get on the grocery list, because that we do keep digital. The sticky note is by Midori. I tabbed this spread out because I figure I will end up wanting to kind of get to these finance spreads a little bit quicker. But I set up two separate check registers here. The first one is my low buy check register. The second one is my package / fund money check register. I do keep track of all my finances digitally. I use YNAB, You Need a Budget, if you are curious, but there are certain things I like when it comes to like my money, my fun money, things that it's personal to me or LindseyScribbles. I like to put it on paper because typically Shopify charges take a couple days to hit the app, so I like having that real-time view. But I'm challenging myself to do a stationary low buy this year. Let me know if you would like to see more videos on that. I'm gonna plan on doing like monthly, quarterly check-ins over on my Patreon, but I'm setting myself to a certain dollar limit with some rules on money in and money out when it comes to stationery, planning, art supplies purchases. So any sort of purchase that happens is going to go here so I can see where I'm at with that budget. And then my package spending tracker is pretty much for anything else that I would need to buy. Part of the reason I'm doing a low buy is I need to pick some things up that aren't planner related. So there's definitely going to be some spending that's happening. I'm just trying to transfer those funds to where they need to go next year a little bit more. I call this my package tracker because of this last column here, but basically I do the date of the transaction, description, money in or money out, what it is, my running balance, and then I'll do a check mark in this first column when something ships and a check mark in the second column when something's received, because any package that I get typically has money to go with it, and if not, I just strike through and I'll write down what the package is, like if maybe my mom shipped me something for some reason. And that gets me to the end of the bullet journal spreads that I've set up. There's a couple other things that I'm considering setting up, but I'm nervous too. So I can already tell that this is like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna work for me, because there's a lot of other trackers I would love to set up or different collections and things like that. But I'm already on page 13 and that seems like pretty crazy to kind of continue to give up pages. So I don't know. I am going to set up a passport bullet journal on the side. So I think I'm going to be a little bit more liberal with my spreads over there, and we'll see if we end up using them or not, because it's going to be kind of a planner experimentation year for me. One thing I did do is I took the 75 minus 13 divided by 12, and that's about 5 pages. So every 5 pages I put down a sticky note just so I can say, hey, you know, maybe I get to January and I've only used 1 page. So I got a lot of paper that maybe I do set up that habit tracker I wasn't sure about or something like that. So it just lets me know if I'm on pace to complete the year or if I'm going to need to go ahead and plan on using those supplemental notebooks. Flipping to the back, there are some pre-made pages. I will probably cover this with something if there's any kind of reference information that I would like to add to my planner. The favorites, I think I'm going to do just like a monthly favorite. I'm going to do them a little bit different in my cousin. So this is just going to be my personal, whatever my favorite thing for the month is, and try and fill them out. The My 100, I am splitting into 2 sections. The first page here I'm going to use for things that are recommended to me. I have some friends that will say, hey, check out this anime, read this book, that kind of thing. Someone recommends a particular like ink online or something like that to me. If someone recommends something to me, I just want a place to put that here, and once I check it out, or maybe I watch the show or whatever, I will check them off. And then on the side over here, I'm going to do a hybrid of an empty / de-stash, because another reason I'm doing a stationary low buy is I'm trying to kind of condense my collection into a more comfortable form factor. So if I run out of an ink, I would like to log, hey, I completely finished an ink, or if I end up reselling a cover or something like that, I'll mark that down. I don't need to de-stash 50 things or run out of 50 things. I just think it's going to be interesting to look at the end of the year. So that's how I'm planning on using the My 100. These I will cover. I'm already contemplating printing out some Stardew Valley reference information that I find on Reddit. I don't know yet because I don't even have a favorite chore. So like, same thing here. Really fun to read through these this year. I love the little bunnies, especially being in the bunny cover. And then there's the 365-day checklist, which I still don't have a plan for. My thought was to use this, but stick with my low buy, but it seems kind of silly to dot off unless I was doing like a true no spend. So no like real daily habit that I think I want to do down here. So I might just fill them in as we go throughout the year so I can see where we're at throughout the year or something like that. A lot of great ideas on one of my previous videos. If you're using this for something in particular, let me know. Maybe I'll decide to repurpose it, but for now I think I'm just gonna fill them in. And then last page here is for addresses. I don't need to keep track of that in my planner. I usually put that in my phone. So I use this as a pen test page, so you can see I swatched my Atramentis document blue there already, and any other pens that I use in this planner I like to do a swatch just so I've got a full collection of everything that kind of went in here. And that is that. I don't think I'm going to put my information in the back, but maybe I will. I haven't decided. But yeah, that is my setup. This will be my personal planner. So anything that I need to get done, anywhere I need to be, anything that I need to remember or to help me stay on track for my goals needs to kind of live in this particular planner. I'm very nervous, but also I'm very excited, and I think it's going to be a fun challenge. So we'll see how long this lasts before I cave and decide, oh my gosh, I should have got a mega, or maybe my passport bullet journal takes over. But I just love this cover, and it's fun to get to use a cute one for my personal life. So fingers crossed that this works out. But if you guys have any questions, let me know down below. If you've made it this long, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next week.